Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and many, many more. In culture today, those are the prize of truth. That's just in fiction. Have been defined as people of truth. And you might disagree with me. That's my opinion. Hey everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Nathan's Freaking Podcast, where I take a topic and talk about it. And I think this is a subject I should be talking about. It was very influenced by my Bible study, where I taught about truth. And then the following Wednesday, my pastor, again, talking about truth and speaking boldly. So I really feel like I should be talking about this. Don't mind the notepad. It's going to have all my notes on it. But before we start, consider following me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at @avariantnate, and leaving a like, a comment on what you thought of what I'm saying, or just a random comment, and subscribe. So I titled my lesson, "Truth is like concrete, not like sand." I think I'm going to keep talking in the video as well, but it's working. But what is truth? According to the internet, it is what is in accord or factual reality. And over time, we've broken it down into absolute truth and relative truth. Absolute truth is what is absolute, constant, standing. Relative truth is what, well, this relates to me, but I'll ignore this part. So why are people's truths so different? Well, we can look back at Genesis 3. Genesis 3 had brought in Satan, and he just, he's like, well, did God really say that? And broke down. He gave Eve a relative truth, what she thought was true, instead of the absolute truth God gave her and Adam. Humanity, with Eve, we broke it down into 4 distinct truths. Social, which is an interaction of truth. Personal, a recollection of truth, what we thought was true. Healing truth, exposing what is true. All those videos you see about the drama and the truth about Jeffree Star or Poke Girl, like all these different things, whatever. Pokemon. Foreseen truth is when, where, whom, and how the truth is affected. Because that's relative truth. Over time, we've broken it down from the 2, absolute and relative, down to these other 4. But that's us trying to quantify what is true, making more things are truth. The third one is compromise. John Cooper, I think, said best in his podcast episode that came out a couple weeks ago. He gave an example of you're a parent and your kid is staying out till, let's say, your curfew's 11, okay? And it's 11:30, he gets home. You're like, hey, why are you out so late? And he goes, oh, my car broke down. But then you find out from friends he was out late. Maybe he skipped work, or some reason. Maybe he was late, whatever. And you're like, okay. But the more it keeps happening. Then it comes 12 o'clock, and 1 o'clock, and I go to 1, I'm like, oh, my car broke down, my phone was dead. You find out he's partying with friends, he's doing these other things, and you're like, alright, whatever, we'll push it back to this. You're older. Let's say you're 17. Which, why you're letting your kid out that late? I don't know. But the more and more it goes, the more stuff he gets into. He goes to a party, and then he gets into other things. It snowballs. It snowballs into him falling away. You compromised your truth as a parent and what you should do to help your child, and he got away. It's happened a lot today. Parents aren't having a truth of how to take care of their children, and they are getting out of hand. That's not all of them now, but I don't want to get too into it. But how do we keep truth? Well, we read the Bible. And, reading the Bible gives us the definition of truth, as said in 1 John 4:6. We read it, we pray on it, we study it, we eat it, like we keep it firm, you memorize it. Speaking out against certain false truths. I think, again, John Cooper is another great example. Things he has spoken out against need to be spoken out about. Rock star pastors, about certain performances of certain rock stars, all these things. I'm going to put down in the description the place. Well, just go listen to some of his stuff. Now, I'm not going to say he's 100% perfect, 100% right. And if I have noticed, if he is wrong, he does come out and he will make an addendum and be like, I was trying to mean this. I'm sorry I came out like this. You know, I was being a little reactive. Like, he gets it. And 3, we stand firm. We keep true. We don't waver. Another great example is the parable of the man building his house on the rock and his other man building a house on the sand. As a kid, I always thought that was just a weird story. I'm like, hey, this makes no sense. It's a fun story. But one man built his house on a firm foundation in the mountains where nothing would harm him, and it stood firm when the storms came. But the man built it on the beach in the sand. It collapsed. It fell over. There was no firm foundation, which I find very interesting, and it hits me a little more. But my last point is being true. What are the people are always like, oh, you can compromise. Yeah, but compromising only gets you so far. Over time, you just falter. You know, like I said with the parable of the 2 men, in standing in the storm, one's gonna fall, one's gonna stand, one's gonna get higher. You have this firm foundation. You'll know a squared plus b squared equals c squared is that. It doesn't change. It won't falter. You can't argue that it's x squared. Like, that makes 0 sense. And it doesn't help that over time, I'm going to bring up both Superman things. You have John Kent coming out as bi. Someone wants to make that character. Fine. But when you push it in just one issue, a total 360 what the character was, it's showing that it's okay. To the degree that it's Superman. Something I think they've actually tried before, and it was shut down by the original creators when they still had some control. But now that there is 0 control, they're allowed to do whatever they want. And then changing a Superman's motto from truth, justice, the American way now to truth, justice, and hoping for a better tomorrow. It's okay to hope for a better tomorrow, but now we want to cross borders. I'm going to bring up the Falcon Winter Soldier show. You had the Flag Smashers. I'm sorry if the park noise is too much, but you bring up the Flag Smashers. You bring up the Flag Smashers. They wanted one world, one country. They wanted no borders. Well, that's just total chaos. That's anarchy. Like, how do you have any control over that? And that's kind of because Superman's motto used to be truth, justice, the American way. People aren't liking America, so they want to get rid of that. Superman has been an American hero, but also through stories is a hero for everyone. It's just where he's been raised. He's taking American ideals and bringing it to other places. He's taking the core American values that stood firm, the American truth that has stood firm, and bringing it to other places. And he's been inserted into many, many heroes in the DC universe and just pop culture. You take that away, you've taken away truth. And now I could wake up and Superman and Batman could be together tomorrow and then in the next story. Like, It won't stop, and it's gonna get worse. And I think we know that just with that Netflix movie where Jesus was by. Luckily, the people said something, and Netflix took it down. But what in the next couple years? That's not gonna be the problem. That's not gonna happen. What if some people compromise? What if a couple of people change their mind? It's like, oh, well, we have to be inclusive. Here's the thing: I'm not against LGBTQIA plus or whatever it is, but I don't stand for their decision. Okay, I'm not gonna. If they invite me to a gay party, I'm not gonna go. I might I might like the person as a person, but I'm not gonna go be somewhere where it values their values. Okay, it's love the sin or hate the sin. And Christians need to learn that. So, oh, we have to be inclusive. Like, now we have, gay churches. So, I hope I get my point across. I really do. So hopefully a lot of people see this and get a kick in the rear end. And if you're mad about it, put down in the comments what you think. I like to see the comments. So stay tuned for more videos. In 2 weeks, you'll be seeing a special guest on this podcast. And I can't wait for you guys to hear that chat. It's loads of fun. I'm really excited for it. I'm going to be recording it here in the next couple days. So stay tuned for that. And I guess I'll see you all later. So stay bearded, stay full, peace. Stay true. You guys have a good rest of your day.